to Brewing Success, where growth is the mission, change is the reward, and progress is the goal. I am your host, Andrea Gebhardt. I'm a former educator turned passionate entrepreneur whose desire to create impact has never wavered. I have spent the last decade teaching, mentoring, and coaching people on how to create success in their lives and businesses with proven strategies and systems that not only bring about change, but big results. When it comes down to it, teaching is my specialty, leadership is my jam, and inspiring you to live a bigger, fuller life is what I'm all about. This podcast will give you the knowledge and tools you need to brew success in almost any area of your life. You're going to walk away each week feeling inspired, motivated, and ready to step outside your comfort zone and into the next level of who you're meant to be. Now let's get into today's episode. Hey, welcome back to Brewing Success. I'm so glad you're here. And I mean that in every way that I could absolutely mean it. And the fact that you keep showing up, not just for this podcast, but for your growth, for the people who are counting on you, that says something about the kind of leader that you are becoming. And I'm so glad to be here with you. So today we're going to talk about something that I've been sitting with for a while, something I've observed in, multiple settings and arenas, from corporate organizations to small businesses, big teams, small teams, teams that are thriving, teams that are, quietly falling apart. And when I finally found the words for it, when I finally started to figure out what was going on and what it was, I wrote them down immediately because I knew I wasn't going to let them get away. And I'm going to encourage you, if you're a creator, a thinker, an entrepreneur, a leader, whenever you have that moment of genius come upon you, where you have this thought, you have this idea, or you read something that inspires a thought or idea, get to the notes as soon as you can on your phone, jot it down, put it down, because you're going to want to come back to it and you're going to want to flush it out. You're going to want to sit and simmer in it and think about what it means and what it looks like and how it applies to what it is that you're doing in your life. So I had an encounter where I was able to really see something for what it was. And as you develop as a leader, as you have more experience in anything that you do, you develop a certain level of discernment where you can tell who the real people are from the fake people. You can see who's actually in the trenches with their team and who's over here on the benches, disconnected, irrelevant. You can hear it in the way they talk, the questions they ask, the things they do. You can start to see some of that. And I had an encounter around this time last year that really opened up my eyes, because I thought someone was a service level leader. And what I had come to find out is they were actually a surface level leader. They were in a position of leadership, but they weren't actually leading. And we know, especially if you've hung out with me a bit, I'm very passionate about this. Leadership is not title or position. Leadership is action. And the action goes beyond speaking on the stages, being on the Zooms, leading the teams from the front, from the front part. It's about being in there with them. It's about understanding the struggles, the frustrations, because you're experiencing them too. It's about being able to recognize some of the blind spots and soft spots in systems because you're working in them too. And so I had this encounter that made me think about this, and I thought, my gosh, no wonder this person isn't a service. They talk about being a service level leader, but in all reality, they are a surface level leader. And so that's what we're going to talk about today. My encouragement to you, my advice, listen, if I could tell you one thing right now, be a service level leader, not a surface level leader. So today we're going to draw a clear and honest line between the two. We're going to talk about what service level leadership looks like in practice and what surface level leadership reveals about a person's true character, and most importantly, how you make sure that every single day you are operating on the right side of that line. And here's what I want you to know. Here's what I want you to hold on to as we go. This episode is going to speak to you in one of three ways. You're going to hear this and think, this is who I want to be, and you're going to leave with a framework to get there. Or you're going to think, I have one of these leaders in my life, and I'm so incredibly grateful. Or, and this one might sting a little, you're going to think, oh, that's why something has kind of always felt off. All three of those are the right places to land. So let's get into it. Let's talk about what a service level leader really is. So we want to start with service level leadership because this is the standard. This is what we are aiming for. This is the bar. A service level leader is someone who has made a fundamental decision, a decision that most people never consciously make. And it's that their role as a leader is not about them. It's about the people that they lead. And I know that that sounds super simple, but simple is not the same as easy because everything in our world rewards the opposite. We celebrate the loudest voices, the biggest titles, the most polished presentations. We promote the people who look the most like leaders. And in doing so, we sometimes accidentally reward the wrong thing. So service level leaders tend to be quiet about themselves and loud about their people. I want you to hear that distinction one more time. Service level leaders tend to be quiet about themselves and loud about their people. They're the ones in the trenches. And again, I've said it already today. I love that image. Leaders in the trenches, not on the benches. A service level leader is not watching from a distance while their team figures it out. They're in it. They're learning right alongside of them. They're getting their hands in it. They're showing up not because they have to, but because they understand that presence is one of the most powerful things a leader can offer. And here is one of the most telling signs of a service level leader. If it were not for their title, and not for the title that they hold, you might not immediately know they were of any particular stature or regard because they don't carry their title like a crown. They carry it like a responsibility. A service level leader meets people where they are on the journey, not where it's convenient for the leader. Meeting people where they are. Think about what that actually requires. It requires you to set aside your own agenda long enough to genuinely see someone else's. It requires patience with a person's process, even when you can already see the destination. And it requires the kind of deep investment, your time, your energy, your attention, that cannot be faked over the long run. Service level leaders ask different questions than surface level leaders. They're not asking, how does this person benefit me? They're asking, what does this person need right now? What is standing in the way of their next level? How can I use my experience, my resources, my network, my knowledge, my expertise to help them get there? And what is the best version of this person and how do I call it out of them? That is service. That is the level that we are talking about. So let's talk about recognizing the surface level leader. Talk about the other side of that line. And I really want to be careful here because I am not here to bash anyone or reduce or minimize the complexity of human beings to a single label. But I also believe that one of the most loving things that I can do for you is tell the truth and give you the language to name what you might already be sensing. Surface level leadership is exactly what it sounds like. It skims. It stays on the surface of who a person is and what they actually need, and it tends to orbit around a central question. How does this serve me? The surface level leader has learned the language of leadership. They can talk about investment and development and culture and values. They can deliver the right message in the right room with impressive conviction. But if you watch closely and if you pay attention to patterns over time rather than the performance in the moment, you start to notice things. You notice how they don't go and mingle and hang out with the people. You notice how they isolate and separate themselves. You notice how they duck out of bigger group meetings and settings to go partake in other things. And the reason why is because they are in that environment, for themselves. They're not thinking about the other people. I was at a conference a few years back, and at this conference, it was a big conference for our company. And in the very front of the room, they had all these special seats, these round tables, and it was the VIP section for the top leaders in the company. And we walk in with our group, and everybody's loud music and lights, and everybody's talking, and the room is just buzzing, all the energy. And our team was sitting over off to the side, and I remember sitting there watching the trainings, and this woman comes up to me. She taps me on the shoulder, and she was like, hi, you don't know me, but I know you. And like, can I just tell you how refreshing it is to see you sitting here in the very back with your team? And I was like, well, yeah, of course. Why? Where else would I be sitting? And she was like, well, it's just like my leader, she's up in the very front, and like, I'm not even able to talk. She hasn't even come and said hi. Like, I can't even like talk to her. Like, you're like, it's just so different. Like, I just think it's really cool because like without your team, you really wouldn't even like be here. And I'm like, yeah, I know I'm always going to sit with my team. My team is the VIP section. My team is the recognition. My team is the, like, them. Like, I want to be with them. I want to hear the information with them, see their faces. We have the hand squeezes and the knee squeezes and the looks across the way. Like, I want to experience this moment with them. I am not here for me. I am here for them. I'm here to learn to make me better so I can in turn turn around and make our team better. Like, that's really what it's all about. And that's the difference between service level and surface level. With a surface level leader, you notice that the support tends to show up when there is an audience, that the recognition comes with strings attached, and that the conversation about your growth happened to coincide with a goal that benefits them, that the investment is always just a little contingent on your loyalty, your production, or your usefulness to their agenda. You see, surface level leaders put on a facade. They speak the language of service, but operate in the currency of self-interest. And perhaps the most recognizable characteristic of the surface level leader is this. They have developed what I call a holier than thou posture. They've positioned themselves as untouchable, above the process, above the struggle, above the human experience of the people that they lead. They're not in the trenches with their teams. They are managing them from a comfortable distance and calling it leadership. Now, here's what I need you to hear if this is landing close to home for you. If you are currently under or working with a surface level leader, first, trust what you've been feeling. That sense of inauthenticity is not your imagination. That feeling that something is slightly off, that the investment never quite feels reciprocal, that your growth is taking point but not true priority, you're not misreading the room, you're reading it correctly. And second, your job right now is to become so clear about what service level leadership looks and feels like that you refuse to replicate the pattern. Because here is the sobering truth. Many surface level leaders were once led by surface level leaders. They never had a model for anything else, but you have one now. So don't waste it. The interesting thing, and I hear this all the time, people, we've all had good leaders, we've all had bad leaders, we've all had great teachers, we've all had bad teachers, we've all had really great friends, we've all had really bad friends, right? Like, we all have been on the spectrum of both. And what you're supposed to learn from those situations, from those people, is how to never be. And my first 8 years in this industry was so incredibly challenging, not just because I helped, start launch a startup, not because I was doing it while I was working full time, not because I had 3 kids under the age of 5 while I was, doing all the things, but because the leadership was so terrible. Ego, greed, lack of integrity, dishonesty. So many icky. I in 8 years literally experienced probably some of the most terrible leadership that some people don't even ever experience in their careers. And it taught me how I will never be the leader that doesn't stop and take the time to talk to somebody else because I think I'm better than that. I will never be the leader who puts values and ethics to the side for personal gain. I will never be the leader because I've experienced that. I've had that. I've dealt with that. I didn't love that. It created problems. It caused culture degradation, like so many different things. And when I'm so fortunate enough to have someone come to me and thank me for my leadership, I say things like, the only reason I'm as good a leader as I am is because I'm constantly working to become a better leader. And number 2, I've had plenty of examples of bad leadership to learn how to be a good leader. It's just like when I was a classroom teacher, I had terrible teachers. So what can I do differently when I am now a teacher to make sure I'm not that? That's what we do. The negative experiences that we have, we don't want to regret them or resent them. We want to utilize them. We want to leverage them. We want to allow them to shape us into a better version than what we experienced. So let me draw a line as clearly as I can, because I want you to be able to see both of these leaders so vividly that you can recognize them in your organization, in your community, and sometimes even in your mirror. And I have like this really incredible graphic, and I'll put it out there and I'll share it with you, but I'll just give you some examples here. A service level leader leads from the trenches. They are present, they're engaged, they're in it alongside with their team. A surface level leader, for example, leads from a distance, manages by observation, and delegates without modeling. A service level leader meets people where they are on the journey without judgment. A surface level leader expects people to meet them at their level of comfort and convenience. And a service level leader, their leadership feels like a safe place to be, honest and imperfect. And with a surface level leader, their leadership feels like a performance. It's always slightly authentic. Like you can't quite trust it and you're not sure why, because it feels inauthentic. So whether you are evaluating yourself or someone that you work with, the pattern of the behaviors are really going to speak for themselves. But now let's shift gears and let's talk about you, because this episode is ultimately about who you are, who you're choosing to be as a leader today, tomorrow, and in every single interaction that tests your character between now and the rest of your leadership journey. And staying in the service lane is not a one-time decision. It's a daily practice. And like any practice, it requires awareness. It's going to require intention and honest self-assessment. So here are the questions I want you to carry with you. Question number 1, am I giving to give or giving to get? This is the foundational question of service level leadership. It requires radical honesty because the ego is very good at disguising self-interest as generosity. So this is where we have to check our motives, and we have to check them often. When you invest in someone, when you show up for someone, when you celebrate someone, ask yourself, who is that really for? If the answer is purely and genuinely them, you are in the service lane. If there is a condition attached or even a subtle one, notice it. That is not a condemnation. It is information. Use it. It's like, whoop, maybe you're sliding over that line there, and we want to pay attention to that. Question number 2, am I meeting people where they are or where I'm comfortable? Service level leadership requires you to enter someone else's experience, their current skill level, their current level of confidence, their current season of life. It's not about lowering the standard. It's about building the bridge from where they are to where the standard lives. That takes patience. That takes flexibility, and it takes the willingness to set aside your own timeline for the sake of their growth. I was recently in a room of leaders where someone said, "Oh, I don't work with people like that. If they don't have success and they don't already have a following and I don't do that." I was like, "Why? That's like the most fun part." Like, that's the best, that's the most rewarding part of developing people. What do you mean you don't do that? It's just wild, but there you go. There's your example between service and surface. Question number 3, would they know I was in their corner if I didn't have a title? This is the one that will keep you honest. Strip away the position, the platform, the organizational authority, strip away the social media clout. In the absence of all of that, would the people you lead still feel genuinely supported, seen, and invested in? If the answer is yes, you are leading from the right place. And if the answer gives you a bit of pause, that pause is your next area of growth, my friend. And lastly, question number 4, am I building them up or am I building my brand? And I will say that there is nothing wrong with having a personal brand as a leader. In fact, you should. But the moment your leadership becomes primarily about your image, your legacy, your recognition, you have stepped off of the service path. The best leaders I have ever seen are far more excited about what their people accomplish than what they themselves receive credit for. That kind of selflessness is magnetic, and it's also very rare. The most powerful leaders I have ever observed are the ones who are almost surprised by their own influence because they were too busy pouring into people to notice how much those people were growing. And here's what I know about you. You are here, you're listening, you're doing the work, you're becoming intentional about the kind of leader you are in this world, and that alone puts you in a category that most people never even consider entering. So let me leave you with this. If you're an aspiring leader, a new leader, or a seasoned leader who just needs a reset, choose service. Every single day, choose service. Get in the trenches with your people, ask the questions that put their growth at the center, give without keeping score, and watch what happens to the culture around you. Watch what happens to the trust. Watch what happens to the results, because service level leadership does not just feel better, it performs better every single time. If you have a service level leader in your life right now, tell them. Seriously, tell them. You have no idea what it means to a leader who pours everything into their people to hear that it's landing, that it's making a difference, that it's seeing. You have the power to fill someone's leadership tank today with 3 honest sentences. Don't waste that. And if you are someone who has a surface level leader in your life, I see you. What you're feeling is valid. And I want you to know that the inauthenticity you've been sensing is not a reflection of your worth. It's honestly a reflection of their limitation. You deserve a leader who is in all the way. And until you find one, be one for yourself, for your team, for the people watching you figure this out. Be a service level leader, not a surface level leader. The world already has enough of one, and it's desperate for more of the other. So with that, thank you for being here today. Thank you for showing up, for your growth, and for your commitment to becoming the best and most intentional version of yourself as a leader. Take a moment to share this episode with someone who leads well. Let them know you see them. Share it with someone who needs a reminder to maybe lead a little bit differently. Let's get this into the hands of the people who are ready to receive it. You, my friend, are part of this incredible community where I am so grateful to have you, where growth is a mission, change is a reward, and progress is a goal. I will see you in the next episode.